My friends, welcome once again to the Bike Lane. I'm Tom Ziska, not riding a bike right now, but again, I have high hopes of, well, actually, I will tell you that for the first time in 8 weeks, I got on my road bike this past Saturday after the big broken toe incident. So I am close, which is great news because it absolutely feeds into what our topic is tonight: the return of the Memorial Park crits. If you race crits in Houston or any place else, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've just happened upon this and you wonder what the heck is Tom talking about, the crit or criterium is a special kind of race. I particularly love them. In my advanced age, I'm not always good at them, but I love them nonetheless. So let me take you to the first night of the Memorial Park Criterium series was last Wednesday night, the first of 9 Wednesday nights. And then after I show you this little vignette, if you will, we'll talk to the organizers and we'll see what's on tap. I have my Invisalign retainers in, so forgive me if I speak a little funny. But we'll talk with the organizer about what's on tap for the rest of this summer. Stand by.
Welcome back. It's nice to see you all again. Nice to be back out here again.
For Houston bicycle racers in the summer, this is the return of tradition.
This is the men's 3-4, race number 3 here at the Memorial Park Picnic Loop.
Riders ready?
The Memorial Park crit races have been absent for 4 years. COVID restrictions and Memorial Park construction of the new land bridges blocked access to the picnic loop that's been used for races since the early 1990s. Now, once again, cyclists with a need for speed are racing around the picnic loop's 1.2-mile course to test themselves and competitors.
Hey, Tom.
For the uninitiated, a criterium or crit race is set on a closed circuit where riders race laps for a set amount of time. At Memorial Park, it's 20 minutes for beginners and up to an hour for the most experienced riders. It also means ample opportunity for spectators as the race goes by. In addition to more than 100 racers on this first night of the series, there were also a couple hundred spectators to watch.
It's nice to have it back. I mean, just look at all these people. Everybody's super excited.
Just a huge party cycling community. Everyone out here having a good time. So super excited to get back out here.
As the race winds down, a bell signifies 1 lap to go. At the finish line, race officials who have been doing this for years keep close watch to make sense out of the blur of bikes. Some have been doing this since the beginning.
I missed racing out here. It's a lovely venue. People love it. You get a wonderful crowd.
There's little more than bragging rights for the winners, maybe some prizes or even a little bit of cash. But it is a fun diversion for those who come. And behind the scenes, certainly a victory for a group of local bike shops who banded together to recreate the organization that makes these races possible.
It's an iconic event in this city and for the surrounding areas, right? So racing's finally back in Houston.
The race is finally back in Houston, and that person speaking right now, Minette Randall and Jimmy Boyle from Sun and Ski Sports, 2 of the bike shops, the Houston area bike shops who are involved in bringing back crit racing. That's my dog sneezing in the background, incidentally, to Houston. Welcome back. Hey, dog. So, hey, to the 2 of you, thank you so much. You, like I mentioned, you're 2 of how many, Minette, bike shops that are working on this?
There's 6 of us, so you just have a portion of us tonight.
Which is fantastic. I'm glad to have you. So, Minette, I know we spoke quite some months ago about, you said there's a possibility that the race series can come back. And then in the interim, Jimmy, she reached out to you and others, and she said what?
Well, I remember she called initially. Minette and I are good friends and good family friends. And so when she called, I thought maybe she just wanted to arrange a beach weekend or something like that. But she said, hey, listen, I'm thinking about getting the crits back at Memorial Park and wanted to see if you wanted to help. And I said, well, heck yeah, absolutely. And she laid out her idea, which was kind of like a Bike Shops United type of theme. She reached out to Sun and Ski Sports, Shama Cycles, Urban Bicycle Gallery, Gear Monkey, just to name a few. There are other shops involved as well. But she had great response from everybody. Everybody wanted to be in on it. And it's the type of event, it's such a popular cycling event in the Houston community. It shouldn't be on one shop's shoulders to do it. It's a great thing that we can all come together and pitch in different ways, just to make it all come together. And the first race on Wednesday was a blast.
It was fun to watch. And certainly we were talking earlier, I have high hopes of sometime before the season ends of being able to clip it back in. My first one was in 2008. And I had heard from some friends who tried it and with a lot of trepidation, clipped in and got shelled out the back lots and lots of times.
That happened to me too, Tom.
Until I finally was able to hang on for a while until the end, which is great. Minette, we were talking Wednesday night, and there is a lot and was a lot of desire to bring this back. 4 years. 2019 was the last time we raced there, and then obviously COVID happened and the reconstruction of Memorial Park. What was that murmur and desire to race in Memorial Park like?
I just think that the road racing scene has been missing in Houston and really this part of Texas in general. And so a lot of people were reaching out. And then once the Houston Grand Crit came off of the calendar, it was just more of a driver to make this thing happen. But I'll tell you, even a year and a half ago, Neil Bremner and I met with the Conservancy to try to bring it back last summer, but the construction of the land bridge wasn't done yet. So there was murmur even a year and a half ago. So it's been in the works.
Neil Bremner, one of the co-owners of Bike Barn before they sold their chain to Trek. And prior to this, Bike Barn was a big sponsor of this, and then prior to that, there were other organizers as well. It's kind of changed hands as it's evolved over the years. So this is its latest iteration. So the plan is, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'll let you, either or both of you. What's the plan for this series? What's on tap?
Yeah, we've got some really interesting, fun things happening, including this Wednesday at 4:45. There's a fixed race gear that is USAC sanctioned race. So that's happening. We'll have another one also, but we also have another 4:45 rookie race this year too. And I don't know if you saw, but we had 2 key people in the community put on a free beginners clinic the Wednesday before all this started, which was awesome and very well attended. So it's showing a lot of new interest, especially women racers, to come out and try for the first time. But we also have a shift in the schedule. So from the Bike Barn days, even from the Sun and Ski days, we heard a lot of talk about why are women always the first one to race? Why are we starting at 5 p.m.? It's very hard to leave work. It's hard to get there in rush hour. So every single week, the schedule is rotating. So for instance, the men's 1, 2, 3 is starting at 5 this week. So every week, check the schedule. It's posted on Facebook and Instagram to make sure you know what time your race is starting.
Yeah, before you get too far there, for people who are beginners with this, who don't know what that is, bicycle racing is kind of delineated by your experience level and your level of success. So there's Cat 5, which is the beginner, on up to Cat 1, and then pros as well. So what Minette is saying is that typically in the past, the biggest race of the night was the last race of the night, as it was this past Wednesday, and they're going to be kind of rotated around. So this next Wednesday, the big boys and girls go first, which makes it easier for people to kind of find a way to get there depending on their schedule.
Yes.
Jimmy, that was important. That was an important kind of factor in all of this, is to make this accessible.
Absolutely. We had several planning meetings leading up to the first race, and I think that was Minette. That was one of the first things that came up, if I recall, was that why do the women always have to start first? Why don't we change it up a little bit? I don't think that's ever happened. So I think that was the first upgrade for the whole series, was having the rotating schedule.
So let's talk about the hurdles required to make this happen. Because Manette, we were talking Wednesday night. It's all good, well and good. A bunch of people want to have a race. It's one thing altogether different to put that race on a public park, and the absence had kind of dropped the Memorial Park crits off the radar of a lot of people within the city, and who had kind of purview over this.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thankfully, Memorial Park Conservancy has been a huge backer in getting this race back, because they're the ones that sign off on it. So thankfully, they've been in communication since really that last meeting with Neil, when we had to say we can't do it this summer, but maybe next. So thankfully, they've been on board. It's them. It's also the city of Houston that we need permission from. We need some permitting. We need USA Cycling permitting. We need EMTs, security from the police department. We need USA Cycling officials. We need lots of volunteers. Thank God people like your wife, Tom, show up and just know what they're doing and are there to help, because we couldn't do it without all of that.
Mrs. Ziska helped organize another race series that happens in the spring several years ago. So she does know how to do that, thankfully. Yeah, thankfully. The sponsorship and the beneficiaries of all this, because the people who show up are certainly there to have fun. There's a cost involved, but there's a lot of donated time. But talk about who is intended to benefit from this at the end of the 9-week series.
I'm glad you asked. So all of our bike shops that are there, and like Jimmy, myself, all of the other people who have staff there, we're donating all of the time. We're donating all of that. So no one is standing to make a profit off of this. All of the money that's raised from the registration is going to go to Bike Houston,
which is an advocacy group for bike-related issues in the Houston area. And in the past, that contribution has been fairly notable at the end of the Memorial Park series.
It has. The last year, 2019, when we ran the races, we were able to donate $5,000 to Bike Houston. So we're hoping to make that same or more.
So, Jimmy, did you hear anything? What was the biggest, I guess, speed bump, if you will, after week one that everybody said, oh, we forgot about that, or we need to fix that, or we want to make that smoother?
Well, I would say it's something that's really not in our control, and I'll say it's the surface of the course is not really ideal right now. The course hasn't been resurfaced in several years. They're scheduled to resurface it next year, but that doesn't do us any good for this year. So we were really happy to see the race go off despite several rain spells during the course of the race last week. So it was wet and we had the unperfect course condition. However, all the races went off. I didn't hear anybody complain about it. They just were happy the races were happening. And, we went out ahead of time with blowers and brooms and marking paint and did our very best to make the course as perfect as it could be. But all the feedback was great. Nobody complained about that at all. So I'd say that was one of the biggest speed bumps, if you will.
Sure. I want to circle back to what you just mentioned so that people don't miss that. And by the way, if you have a question for Manette or Jimmy or me, feel free to hit me up on the social media. I can see them. So a couple people said hi right back. But if you have a question, we'll pop it up and we'll get it answered. But there is a plan in place. It is on the books in the fall, from what I heard, to resurface the picnic loop. That's
what we're hearing. That's what Minette told me. Yeah. I'll take your word for it, Minette.
Thank you, Jimmy. Yeah. That's what the Conservancy said to us too. In fact, they were planning on doing it sooner, but we asked them to hold off until the series was over.
And there is a benefit to getting that done beyond, the bicycle racers would like it. A lot of money and effort has been put into renovating Memorial Park, and the picnic loop didn't get destroyed. It didn't get taken out. There was a desire to keep it there. So there's clearly a benefit to just having it as nice as the rest of the park has been made.
That's right.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there may be people here who don't know anything about this, would like to see it, because this is a very spectator friendly event. I mean, at most, you can't see the whole course from one spot unless you're in a drone high above, but you can walk around the course, and at most you're going to wait like a minute and a half, a couple of minutes before the racers go by. So there's lots of opportunity. So parking has been changed. The traffic patterns of Memorial Park around there have been changed. So let's talk about how people get there.
Yeah, so for sure, that's something to prepare for, including if you're just coming to watch or if you're coming to race. There is no on-site parking at the loop unless you get there before 3 o'clock, because it is a race course. We can't allow you to drive on it.
And then you're stuck there through the duration.
That's right. You can't leave until after the last race ends at 8 p.m. So know that. And also know that Memorial Park has ample parking around at the Eastern Glades or at the Running Center. The Running Center's path has a paved pathway all the way to the picnic loop. It is a half-mile walk or ride. Just know that if you're carrying chairs or a stroller or any of those things, be prepared for a small hike. And bring your whole family. Come out and watch. There's a kids race every single night. It's free. So every Wednesday during the start of the second race, my daughter helps to lead it. It's informal and super fun.
And we will note that the more spectators, the better to cheer as the bikes go on. It is a free thing. Even if you're not racing, you just got to show up and watch. It's, again, something perhaps that's new, that you've never ever done before, never ever seen before, and it's very, very accessible. Am I wrong?
No,
You're right.
That's right. You know, watching bike racing, crit racing in particular, because you get to see the group come around so many times. The rush of wind that's created by the group as they come by, the sound of shifting gears, the banter that you can hear among the racers as they go by. All that stuff is really cool. You know, some of us are used to watching that all the time, and it's still electrifying to watch. To people that have never seen it, it's just truly awesome. Another thing is there are food trucks out there every Wednesday. And as Minette mentioned earlier, Adam with Carbach Brewing Company's got beer out there. So it's a mini festival scene out there. And, as I said earlier, there was a little bit of rain last Wednesday for the opening race. When it's dry out, the speeds are faster, and it just gets more exciting and more fun.
Agreed. And it goes on for the next 8 Wednesdays. And come, if you want to come race your bike, come race your bike. If you want to come watch, come watch. If you want to see Minette or Jimmy or even me, I plan on being there for all of the 8 weeks, whether I'm riding my bike or not. So I look forward to it. To the two of you, on behalf of cyclists, I want to say thank you to you and your partners as well, who I know them. I know almost all of them, and I'm thankful to all of you as well. It's good to see this back. I'm glad to see this back, and thanks for taking time to share it. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You guys make me so proud.
It's them. It's all them, right? So, my friends, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Memorial Park Crit Racing, Wednesday night. It starts about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It'll go for a couple of hours, nonstop action. I invite you to do it and find out what that particular portion of the bike lane is all about. Until I see you next, my friends, I'm Tom Ziska. Go out and ride your darn bike. It's fantastic.